When you say stop waste, but
well, half of our food is thrown out. It spoils. It winds up in landfills. The single-use plastic, the energy that we lose in inefficient cars, transportation, inefficient transportation grids, inefficiently designed cities. For instance, the mega homes and suburban sprawl. We know that urban sprawl or urban landscapes, city centers, are 3 times more efficient than suburban landscapes are. And so we need to solve that problem, perhaps build vertically.
Are you taking a swipe at my 12,000 square foot cottage?
Of course.
All right. We're not going to solve that problem today.
We're not going to
take at least another martini and glass of water. I want to talk as well. It's on the cover of Maclean's recently, so timely. There's a resurgence of measles and other preventable diseases, diseases that a generation ago people thought were eradicated, certainly from Western North America. And recently we've got, because of parents refusing to immunize children because of religious reasons and other delusions, over 400 cases in Chilliwack alone, where a decade ago there weren't 400 cases, I don't think, in North America.
That's correct.
Even Bill Maher, who typically I'm on side with and think is a reasonably intelligent guy, is on his show pushing back against vaccinations. Though he's, I think, more specifically on flu vaccinations because they're not as effective as they could be. But nonetheless, all these celebrity endorsements for lack of vaccines is having a very negative effect. And I don't understand why it's even optional whether you should allow your child to have a vaccine. If I want to send my kid to school with a peanut butter sandwich, I'm told I can't because it may affect the small minority of kids who are allergic. But if I want to say, well, my kid doesn't need to get vaccinated against measles and may then contract a highly communicable disease, that's my right to do so. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense. The vaccination issue, whether it's flu or whether it's polio or whether it's rubella, various types of measles, whooping cough, mumps, that kind of thing, they're all in the same category. And to differentiate between flu and measles is a bit of a straw man. We know that flu mutates very, very quickly. And so when we create a vaccine for the flu, we try to target a particular type of flu, and vaccines are very specific. If you get the antibodies for a specific type of flu shot, if you get another type of flu, it's not going to be effective. You have to have a vaccination for that flu as well. And when they create the vaccines each year, they try to do some predicting. And so you have your microbiologist sitting down and saying, okay, so we think the H1N3 virus is going to be the one we have to worry about this year. And so that's the vaccine that we manufacture. Now, the whole thing about the anti-vaxxers comes from a single article that has now been totally discredited, that came out about 15 years ago.
And I to this day regret writing that.
And I think you should. We will go outside afterwards and talk about that. And so that article came out and completely distorted the vaccination landscape by linking autism to vaccinations. And I don't even like talking about it publicly because it gives credence to this kind of stuff.
No one's watching, don't worry.
Okay, good. That is it. So when we create vaccines, they actually work. And they started with Louis Pasteur and rabies. I mean, those were the first vaccines that came out, and then we had Edward Jenner created the smallpox, cowpox vaccine, and smallpox has been eradicated. It's the historically biggest killer in humanity, and the only reason that we don't have smallpox epidemics in the world today is the fact that we have vaccines out there. So it beggars the imagination why anyone would in any way criticize vaccinations. Our entire healthcare system is based on these. So vaccinations, antibiotics are the things that keep us alive.
But perhaps God should decide who gets measles.
Who's that?
Never met her. God shouldn't decide who gets anaphylactic shock, apparently. But measles is a different thing. Now we've come to the boring segment of the show when I'm forced to read some of the questions that have been sent in. Kelly in Cole Harbour says, we've had a good dose of winter lately, but it didn't really start until late January. Is this winter actually worse than the average? Do we just collectively whine more than we used to? Kelly, my vote's on the whining, but Richard,
Yes
your
to
thoughts?
everything. It has been to now an average winter. It looks like the winter's going to extend. When I take a look at the 10 to 16 day outlook, what you see is what you get. I call it a WYSIWYG forecast. We're going to get more snow. We're going to get more cold temperatures. There's an oscillation that's going to continue upwards, but it's sort of what you see is what you get. It's going to be a great pothole season. And as far as us whining, yeah, but we're Canadian. It's winter. This is what we do.
Didn't used to be.
Well, we're getting soft.
Yeah, we are. Last question. Two-part question from Jim in Moncton.
Okay.
Richard, do you think you could have saved Sun News had they given you a show?
Again, I'm getting chest pains. Having to work with Ezra Levant is a non-starter.
Is that a no?
Yeah, no.
And part two, will the reduction in the hot air since they've shut down help combat climate change?
It works. You'll notice the temperature's cooler here already.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining us today. Visit richardzurowski.ca to learn more and tune into News 95.7 to hear the science files and weather reports. Thanks again to Amazing Spaces for putting up with us. Drop by the shop in Hydrostone at your earliest convenience to harass them. And join us next time as we welcome music legend Stevie Nicks to the show. Cheers. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Now they clap.